All right, good evening. Good evening. Welcome to Policy. WSTX and good to have you here. Welcome, Policy. Whether you're on Facebook, connecting with us, or by radio, welcome. Good to have you on board.
Good night to everybody. It is Friday, August 21st. So, it's your girl M Love. I just want to give a shout out to all my fellow lions and lionesses. It's wrapping up. Tomorrow is the end of Leo season. So, happy birthday to all who celebrated from July 23rd up until August 22nd.
Well, good night, everyone, and welcome back again. This is Chaz Hollywood Nibs, and of course, my birthday was July the 22nd.
All
So I
right.
was kind of born at the cusp, you know. And my lovely wife Anita, her birthday was July 11th.
Nice.
So I salute the Leos from the crabs.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now that's there is a bit of twist of irony here because she being Leo, and then we lost Big Lion last night. Big Lion was one of our favorite cats. We got two favorite cats at home, or we had rather. We have Big Lion and we have Pusia, brother and sister. They've been with us for about what, like 5, 7 years? About 7 years
right
we've had
now.
them. And normally, Pusia hardly goes out of the house. She's like an aristocrat type cat. She doesn't even want to mix with those on the outs because you got some cats in the yard. They're like feral, sort of a semi-feral, you know. She doesn't want to mix with any of them. So she spends most of the time indoors. Big Lion has the latitude of being allowed to go out. And when he wants to come in, he'll scratch on the door, on the bedroom door, you know, or the sliding glass door on the back porch so we can get him in. And so it so happens that last evening, Mandy heard him scratching, but for whatever reason, she did not open up for him. About 4 in the morning, she comes calling me, telling me that she heard some confusion out there. It seems like the cats might be in trouble. So I went out to the back porch. She went to the front porch. We didn't see any signs. Um, he didn't come back to the house. We heard no signs of him as the hours drew on. At about 6 o'clock, myself and my grandson, we went out. We went around the yard looking for him. We didn't see him. And I just figured maybe he's going to come home. But there was this thing in me that says, because I've got an abandoned kitten that I'm nursing, it's about 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks. And I'm saying, what if something terrible happened to the lion and this is going to be the replacement? Now that crept into my mind. And then I noticed the neighbor driving out stopped short of the intersection. And I said, I wonder if he saw the dead body of the cat. And you know, so said that was the case. When we were driving out, my wife must have seen before anybody else. She just started crying. She said, Big Lion, look, there is Big Lion. And she began crying. And the body was right there. So we were going to a funeral. Imagine that we were going to a funeral service for one of our co-workers from American Airlines who passed away. So we went ahead to the funeral service, and afterwards, I went home to bury Big Lion. My wife even made a song, a tribute for him, which I may get a chance to play a little later on in the program. You know, but it's sad because
It's gonna be so bad.
he would sit on one of the stools at the bar in the house, and if I'm walking by and I didn't take him on, he would just grab me to show me that, you know, hey, I'm here. You know, he would come sometimes and he likes to drop at your feet. He would just come, rub on your leg and just drop at your feet. You know, he wants you to like pet him and so on. He wasn't afraid of people. Anybody who came to the house, he would go to them. Pusia is not like that. If people come to the house, she's hiding. You know, two different personalities.
Very
And so
timid.
it's really sad for us at home because it's a member of the family that we've lost. Albeit an animal, it's a pet, or it was a pet rather, and a member of the family, and it's like, man, it's a big loss for us.
Well, I hope it's a message to your neighbors when you have stray dogs
Mhm,
and packs
mhm.
attacking other people's animals and violating other people's property
Mhm.
to keep them in check.
Right.
because there is a law
Mhm.
against allowing animals to stray.
Mhm. I think people should realize that it's important to keep their pets
Mhm.
um, restrained somehow, whether it's a leash you have them on, or if you have cages, what have you. You can't just have, especially dogs.
Yeah.
You can't just have dogs running around because the dogs have been in the yard, and there are a couple of big ones. And when I go out there, I'm wondering sometimes, what if they turn upon me?
Mhm.
How do I deal with that? But I go out bravely. I've told her that man has natural dominion over the animals, so I go sort of like unafraid.
Yes.
That's how I go out boldly and call out to them to get out of here.
Sure.
You know,
Yeah.
but you never know when one might just turn
Yeah.
upon you, and
Yeah.
what do you do?
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
So, but it's crazy, but it is what it is. We're gonna deal with it.
Well, my condolences to
Yeah.
your family.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate that.
We
Thanks.
appreciate it.
But anyway, it's all about choices and making the
Sure
right choices. And what this is what this program is all about. And before we get into discussing some disturbing events, we continue to see fights in the schools.
Mhm.
We had a situation on St. Thomas that we're going to touch upon. But I want to just remind those listening, I want to ask parents who listen to this program to encourage their school age children to tune in. And even those who are attending UVI or college can tune in and share with us their take on the various topics we're going to discuss here. Hopefully, at some point, we'll discuss some steps that can be taken in terms of de-escalation of situations
Mhm.
that can, become conflicts out of control. We won't touch upon that. But I want to remind folks that one of the things we discussed on this program earlier on is for parents to work with their children to develop a vision statement and a mission statement as far as their lives are concerned. In other words, you may be in junior high school, you may be in high school, even in elementary school. You should have some kind of a format in your mind in terms of where you would like to get to in life, and how you're going to get there. So the vision is the destination. The mission statement is the means whereby you're going to get there.
Mhm.
And, if parents would like to know how we can assist in developing such vision and mission statements, feel free to give us a call, any one of us here, and we'll share with you
Mhm.
how you can help your children or even your neighbor's children, because we got to take the approach of the village. It takes a village, and so sometimes you may have a particular family that do not have the wherewithal to assist their children in such a manner, towards such a direction or goal, if I may. And of course, you, the neighbor who knows better and can assist, step in and give some help.
Mhm.
You may have situations where sometimes you have a single mother raising children, or just even one child, and you can see where you can give some assistance. Step in. You don't intrude, but you find some kind of amenable approach whereby you can get into a conversation and let the opportunity arise where you can offer
And
some
you
assistance.
state single mothers with single fathers also.
True, true.
I've experienced that in my police
Yeah,
career.
yeah.
Single fathers.
Yeah. I knew of one such case where a father actually, the mother abandoned the father with two daughters. And the father had to learn to braid the daughters' hair. He took care of them and he raised them right here on this island of St. Croix. That happened. Mother just simply picked up, disappeared, just went away and left the daughters with the father. Crazy. But these things do happen.
Mhm.
All right. So let's get to deal with what we've been faced with here recently in the territory. I think everybody should be concerned about that. The fights we had at the different schools since the reopening, and the disturbing event yesterday in particular. And the fights were not just on the opening day, they've continued. And yesterday on the island of St. Thomas, one student, because he had been robbed of the tag that comes with those popular school bags. How they call them?
Spray ground.
Spray ground. He was robbed of the tag because some people will steal the tag. And so, being upset, being irate over what happened, he went home and he made a video where he was saying that
It's gonna be a
there'll be
problem.
consequences, there'll be problems. And he displayed what appeared to have been a rifle, but I understand it was not a real gun. He displayed that and he spoke about what actions he was going to take and what was going to happen.
Mm.
And I understand. In fact, I read a brief on one of the online news outlets where they said that he had been taken into custody. His parents were asked to come along with him to the police station. And my understanding is that he had been detained at YRC. I know we're going to have mixed feelings about that. I don't know how you guys feel about it. I have my take, the situation. But let me hear from you guys.
Well, I really don't know if YRC is really going to be the solution in helping youths come from that mindset that they have to get on like that. You know what I'm saying? I haven't been in the YRC arena. I don't know what it's like in there.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm saying we need counseling, therapists, and parents to get involved and talk to kids about how was it there at school. I wonder how many of us are really sitting down to ask kids when they come home from school, how was your day at school? What took place at school?
Mhm.
And how open the kids are to even engaging in telling their parents exactly what happened at school today.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes my young man, he will come home and tell me,
Mm-hmm.
there was a lot of fights at school today and whatnot.
Mhm.
But in terms of if he's been bullying, he's not opening to telling me that.
Mm-hmm. I hope I ask him to drop by later because he's at the basketball court right now. I told him I would like him to join the conversation
Mhm.
so I can ask him some questions and see how he would respond so parents can get a perspective in terms of how these young people feel. He told me he's going to show up, so I'll wait and see if he does show up, and we can ask him some questions. Let me hear what's your take.
Okay, well, just hearing what both of you stated concerning the situation, I don't know if YRC was the right choice
Mm-hmm.
to send him
Mm-hmm.
because I'm trying to envision what took place with myself as a bullied victim.
Mm-hmm.
And it might seem as though he went to the extreme by displaying a fake gun,
Mm-hmm.
but then at the same token, he was a victim of a theft.
Mm-hmm.
I believe what I would have done in that case with him is sit him down and let him to know that you can put your actions into words.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to exhibit a gun
Mm-hmm.
to be able to get across your message.
Mm-hmm.
And let him to know that next time something like that should happen,
Mm-hmm.
what you should do is express yourself without you now looking like the bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
Because the person that stole whatever they stole from you now you're making them look good.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're not displaying anything, but you are.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So people are going to remember that gun,
Mm-hmm.
fake gun.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, in my mind, there's nothing known as a fake gun as a law enforcement officer.
Mm-hmm.
A weapon is a weapon,
Mm-hmm.
in my mind.
Mhm.
However, because the gun was subsequently rated as fake,
Mm-hmm.
people will remember that. But to send him to YRC for that, what about the person that stole
Mm-hmm.
his property?
Mm-hmm.
What happened to them? They need to go to YRC,
Mm-hmm.
and because what they're going to do is they're going to graduate.
Mm-hmm.
They're stealing a tag. Next thing you know, they're going to be stealing cars.
Mhm.
Next thing you know, they're going to be walking and robbing people. So they're going to graduate.
Mhm.
However, versus this individual only took one stand of saying, "Look, I want my stuff back,
Mhm.
and I'm holding a gun."
Mhm.
Okay, so the children that really needs to go to YRC don't go there,
Mhm.
and they should.
Mhm.
And this brings us to the point with school violence and whatever. By
Mhm.
throwing them out of school, you're going to end up in the streets. No, you're not going to end up in the streets.
Mhm.
You're expelled from school, you're going to attend an academy, a rigid academy.
Mhm.
It's going to be, what do we name it, youth rehabilitation center or whatever.
Mhm.
And you're going to have drill sergeants.
Mhm.
And guess what? You're going to still be able to get your education. However, it's going to be done our way,
Mhm.
not your way. And then not the highway, our way.
Mhm. Well, here is the thing. First of all, I'd like to say that the young man and everybody involved need counseling. I believe that the schools, administration of the schools should be proactive when such things happen. There should be an immediate gathering of people. Your counseling team to begin with need to come together and decide how we're going to handle that, because you need to impress upon the students to respect people's properties,
Yes.
to abstain from engaging in theft and things of this nature. So there should have been some kind of a conference, how do they call it? When they bring all the students together. It's not orientation,
Assembly.
an assembly program,
Yes.
where they could have been brought together to discuss that matter,
Yeah.
and to let them understand that respect of people's property is important.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, the young man needed counseling. He needs to be counseled in terms of his overall reaction
Sure.
to the situation.
Sorry
Go ahead.
to cut you short. I'm thinking the reason why they were so quick to reprimand him to YRC is because you remember they had couple of incidents. Was it last school year or something about the bomb threats or
Mhm,
some?
mhm.
They had whole
Mhm.
couple of them or whatever.
Mhm.
He made a threat saying, because they took his spray ground tag, is gonna be a shedding of
Mhm.
bullets.
Mhm.
So they're not gonna take that lightly.
Well, here is the reality. Our community, our island, our territory need to develop a new approach to dealing with the problems of the community.
Mhm.
Names, appellations are important. You know, in times past, parents gave sometimes names to their children that was just a hand me down from colonial days. And then we came to a point where we would give African names to our children.
Mhm.
The two children with my wife, Ambakisie, his name means God has been merciful unto me. Mandisa, Mandisa means sweet. Her name is Mandisa Love, which means sweet love. So I think it's important that, when we attach names to whether it be people or places, that there is some kind of significance behind the name.
Yes.
And so the name Youth Rehabilitation Center is one I personally do not approve of that.
I agree too.
We need to change that.
Definitely. Mhm.
Find a better name for that institution. And at the same time, we need to examine the curriculum, the program offerings we have at that institution. Are the programs really geared towards taking the children from a disadvantaged position to a position of empowerment,
Mhm.
so that they understand that the track on which they've been perhaps leads down to a slippery slope,
Mhm.
and we're trying to put them on solid footing, on a better plane, a higher plane, if I may, one where attitudes become uplifting, so that they develop new attitudes about life, about their station in life, about people around them, and that's going to propel them
But then again, to how trained are the staff.
Right.
That's another problem, because sometimes the victims are going to the quote unquote youth rehabilitation center, and they're like, wait a minute, I'm a victim. Why am I here?
Right.
Okay, I might have made a bad choice of doing something, but
Mm-hmm.
why are you all on me? How come you're not on the perpetrator that caused me to react the way I reacted?
Mm-hmm.
I can speak from experience.
Mm-hmm.
See, I can speak from experience, and this is the reason why a lot of times we have touched a lot of youths by explaining about your life to them.
Mm-hmm.
I remember one time my mother caught me trying to put a knife in my bag. She came right around the corner to the kitchen and she caught me. She didn't grab me and says, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" No. She said, "Son, what's going on?" And I started to cry.
Mm-hmm.
And I told her, "Look, man, I'm being bothered at school and
Wow.
what the case is and what happened, okay?" And she prayed with me. My mother's a devout Christian.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, "Don't feel bad about yourself. I'm going to go and I'm going to take care of this problem."
Mm-hmm.
Now, another mother would have said, "What are you doing with a knife in your back?" Maybe spit me up, thump me or whip me or something, and this type of stuff. She didn't do that.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I was kicked out of school for being bullied,
Wow.
okay? Kicked out of school for being bullied, but
Imagine.
yet I was triumphant because I graduated valedictorian in my high school class through a court order of $15,000 a year the government had to pay to get my education in the States for what it did to me, okay? And you have counselors that was here like, what is wrong with this place? Same thing goes back to what you're saying. We need to change the approach. There's no approach. You have to, parents, you are very powerful. Governor Melvin Evans was the governor at the time. And I remember my mother walking me up to Government House. And there was a few people that was around, and my mother was like, I want to see the governor or the lieutenant governor because this is my son. Okay? And he hasn't done anything to anyone. He's a victim. And it's like, oh, Miss Nibs, you're going on bad. You're a Christian woman. You should see that cut you down with the word of God, okay? Anyway, to make a long story short, they ended up in court. And the judge was like, wait a minute, what's going on here? How could you do this to him? But you see, they have done that to a lot of other people's children, but they didn't fight. And I know right now, in my age group, I know of a lot of them that was kicked out of school as a victim and they never got their education.
Wow.
Well, it comes to a point where some kind of action need to be taken to redirect, if I may, to reset the manner in which we've been moving. And let me just say, for purposes of general edification, if I may, we've had situations at our schools or situations connected to our schools that ended up in a very disastrous manner. These were not numerous, but a few nonetheless. We had a situation at Woodson School where a youngster fell victim to a knife thrust, is what I call it. It was not really a knife attack, but one student who went to school with a knife pulled that knife and did something which was fatal. We had another situation in the Williams Delight area, and that one I'm talking about. The students they lived in the Prophet Hill community. We had a situation in Williams Delight where the children came from school, and wherever the situation began, whether it was in the community or at the school, but the fatal attack or the fatal incident took place after the children exited the school bus. And then we had a situation which involved some students from the complex, where again it ended up with a fatality. So I'm saying we've had I can recall those 3 incidents that we've had. And we seem to just, go past these things. When it happens, there is a lot that is said, and then people put it to rest. But our community needs to develop a spirit of empathy, if I may, and begin to look at where we're coming up short and to make changes. And I'm going to tell you 2 things that I know which we should implement but not been implemented. We have laws on the books that speak to conflict resolution courses being taught in the schools. And I can guarantee you, check the curriculum at any of the public schools, it is not being done. We have a law in the books that speaks to the teaching of character education in the schools. And I can guarantee you, you go to the schools and you will not find that being implemented. So, you know, it's the entire community. The people who pass the laws need to make sure that the laws are being implemented. The people in the executive branch of the government needs to review what's on the books, what laws we have that deal with education, you know, and to see if these things are being implemented. The same thing applies in the area of healthcare. I mean, our children are being impacted by the lack of adequate healthcare protocols because of a lot of our children are suffering from health challenges. Whether it is even the spectrum of autism falls along health lines, and I don't think these things are being addressed as you know, aggressively as they should be. Mental health. We have children in the school suffering from mental health, and so I'm saying these are things that we need to address. Let's see, I believe somebody's trying to reach us. Hello, caller, good evening and welcome.
Good evening, Mr. Baptiste. This is Mary Moorhead.
Good evening and welcome to the program.
Thank you. I wasn't aware of the program. I just happened to have my car radio on that station, and I just got in the car to go home from a workshop. I heard your program, and I thank you for mentioning conflict resolution, but I just wanted to give you one information, which is when there are laws that exist, it is the responsibility of the members of the Board of Education to see that they're implemented. And let me just remind you that I had to go to court for the implementation of the one with VI history, which is still not fully implemented.
Wow.
It is the membership, and this is elected board. Let's remember, we the people vote these people in, and I'll remind them because election is coming up, and there are some candidates who are for the Board of Education, and you know them well, Dr. Lucy Jackson, Dr. Vincent Gordon, you know, and we have to put people in place who understand the need, know the reform that is needed, and will take the position to execute. Because, as I said, the present membership are all members who were there when I filed against the department concerning the VI history, and they took the position of being defendants. And I'm saying that because when I filed, I was still a member of the board, and I tried. I tried as much as I could to get the board to do something before having to put them as defendants.
Wow.
So, just by the way, because you know, people, especially these boards, because there's the election board, is the same thing. People vote as they see a name that they recognize, and they don't follow up to even attend meetings to see how these people that they vote for are performing or not performing. Okay? And I would take this opportunity to encourage your listening audience to do that. Pay attention, because especially now with the virtual thing, there's usually a link when we have board meetings that you can virtually listen. You don't have to attend, and hear what is going on, and hear the positions that these people that you elect and support are taking. And I do encourage people to please, you call the office, and they will, you know, give you your email address or whatever, and they will send you the link.
Ms. Moorhead, this is Charles Hollywood Nips, and I also wanted to ask you, what is the problem with having VI history in our schools? I mean, we're from the Virgin Islands. Okay, this is our home, this is our culture,
Mm-hmm.
as I mean, you got to know thyself before you can go and learn other people's
Yes.
history. What is the problem?
And I think in my opinion, over the time of observing and trying to understand, the only thing I can say is uh, the leadership has come to realize the one dominant party that when people are ignorant, they're
Wow.
easily controlled and led.
Wow. Wow.
And I say that because I think maybe like your generation or what we would call the baby boomers were the last generation to have the benefit of getting that education because we had mostly local people who were the instructors, the educators, and they took pride in knowing the history and sharing it.
Mm-hmm.
And after they left, retired, whatever, it just went to the wayside, and now nobody. I mean, the ordinary person, even educated people, you ask them a simple question, and I'm sure Baptiste has had that experience concerning the operation. Who does what where government is concerned, and you'll be shocked at what they tell you, and these are educated people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Am I wrong, Baptiste?
You know, you're absolutely correct. And you know what is sad? I recall, I don't know if that still stands true today, but as part of the certification process for teachers, teachers had to take a course in Virgin Islands history. Imagine that. The need was recognized for teachers to have some knowledge of Virgin Islands history, and that was part of the requirement for certification. So you're telling me,
required.
okay.
As a matter of fact, it's supposed to happen within the first year of employment. But again, like with everything else, you can get a conditional certification, which will give you 5 years, to meet the requirement. And right now, I have been pushing that because the board is looking to be lenient. Because my thing is, I don't see why it takes you so long. The UBI cell offers the course every summer. It's not necessarily what I would say is appropriate, but it's the course at any rate. And many teachers, educators, that's one of the things that they're lacking, but they get a conditional certification.
Ridiculous.
Ms. Moorhead, we had two brilliant young men that was running for the Board of Education.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Now, I respect the ones that was there before. Okay. However, come on. I mean, these are two young men.
That they didn't even, as I recall, I don't think any of either of them got even 1,000 votes. I mean,
So what message is that? The message we're sending to the young people is like what?
Okay.
What was the message?
But then yet you will hear the public saying, "Oh, we need young people." But when there were two, I mean, they campaigned. I saw them throughout the community. They did their job in campaigning, and I was shocked that not even one of them did make it.
But
wait. And I don't really want, I tread there very lightly, but we understand the dynamic at work here in the community in terms of the dominance of particular elements. And that's where the answer lies. It's not just the general population or voters, but it is the dominant element.
Yeah.
Come on.
To support those who go along to get along.
Come on.
And will keep the status quo in place.
Come on. It's unfortunate. We need a reset. I'm telling you all straight up. We need to reevaluate the approach and revamp the entire thing.
But this is, in my opinion, this year, this election is our last chance for that reset. Because I tell people, and they look at me like I'm crazy. We are an unincorporated territory. The way we're going, Don't be surprised if America decides the hell with you, we're gonna take you over and you do what we say.
Thank you very much.
And we don't want that. We don't want that. So we're gonna keep.
We don't want that, but I just want people don't understand it's possible, particularly with the way we're functioning.
Well, we gotta keep the fires burning. You hear me, Peggy? We gotta keep the fires burning.
Well, also, I've got to commend you.
I do. As a matter of fact, I got to run to go write a brief because I was the one that filed for that separate ballot law to be implemented with the delegate to Congress situation. And I just this afternoon got a notice that I have to now do a brief that be turned in by 12 o'clock tomorrow night. So, I don't understand that because a writ of mandamus is just that. And all it is, a writ of mandamus is ordering the defendant to comply with law. So I'm not no attorney. I'll probably be looking a bit ignorant and stupid on Monday afternoon in the courtroom because all I'm going to say to the judges, I really don't know what a brief is. This is what I'm submitting, but because all I'm asking for is there's a law, federal and local, and I'm demanding that the supervisor and the board of election comply with the law.
Well, I hope you stress the importance of where we are at today and why we should follow the dictates of the law. I mean, if there is a need to amend the law, well, let's make sure we amend it. But if the law states that X, Y, and Z should be done, we should follow the law.
Right.
Come on, we gotta.
This is part of the problem that we have now with those young people. How can we demonstrate to ignore a law? And here it is, then, we're just really enabling what the young people are doing now, just do it free for all.
So I hope it doesn't transcend in the Constitutional Convention. How far are we on that?
I really don't know because it's been crickets.
Yeah. Yeah. And that is troubling.
I've gotta go.
That is troubling. So we'll see. But we want to thank you for calling and sharing with us. Certainly appreciate it.
Thank you very much for allowing me. Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Well, every time I meet her, I always call her Dr. Peggy Moorhead. She knows that that's my gal all the way.
Wow.
Regardless of what she's out there, her age and everything, and she's an advocate. And I've got to really commend her for that.
Yeah, definitely.
You might not agree with a lot of stuff she's stating.
Yeah.
However, if you actually listen to her and do your research, you'll see where she's coming from.
Yeah, absolutely. But here is the thing, we were talking about the young people in particular in the community. And this program is all about trying to lead the young people in the right direction, assisting them in making wise, prudent choices, showing them that there is a process involved. It's just like when people tell you when someone attacks you verbally, the first thing you do is to step back a bit in your mind, relax yourself, process what has been done. You don't show them that you sweat.
Right.
And you overreact. No, calm yourself.
No, but you see, when young people make the choice of standing up to defend the Board of Education and to implement new things, the community fails them. And unlike these two young men that ran for the Board of Education, and what I'm saying is choices. They made a choice. So how many times young people are going to be making a choice where you're actually quote unquote dissing them? Instead of accepting them.
Well, let's be realistic. The adults in the community have not been setting the best of examples, models for the young people to follow.
Thank you.
And I don't want people attacking me because of what I've said, because I know that there are exceptions. But generally speaking, when you look at the behavior of adults in the community, and it leaves a lot to be desired in many instances. So I'm saying that we need to begin to look at ourselves as adults and recognize the need to make some adjustments in terms of how we behave, how we interact with each other. I go to the supermarket sometimes, and I watch the behavior of adults over a dispute at the cash register. And I'm saying, man, come on, man, adults behaving like that. You know, there ought to be a better way. You walk in sometimes, and this is not the culture I used to know. When you walk in and you say to people, good morning, and nobody answers, and you have to speak louder.
And
You know,
sometimes
I said good morning to get a response. And when you say I said good morning, you got some who just refuse. They still refuse to answer.
My mother taught me one thing, okay? She said, son, what I do, I say, good morning, everyone. Who answer, you want to say. However, the day you walk in and you don't say anything, and you approach anyone, that's when they're going to insult you. So just say, good morning, everyone, good night, everyone, leave it as that. What upsets me is preachers in the church. Okay? I mean, I'm not a person of the cloth or clergy, but it hurts me when I listen to services with preachers and the priests where they have to actually beg the audience to respond to them. And we're supposed to be praising the Almighty God. You know, it's like, come on, church. Why?
Well, here is the other thing. We are living at a time when the church is not within the church. You know, when you go to a church service in these times, you don't even see the young people in church anymore. For some reason they have been turned away from church service, and so I think as even the clergy need to reevaluate the approach. What can we do to bring them back? Community is not what community used to be. You know, I drive through Williams Delight, and there is a recreational facility, well, basically a basketball court. They don't even have bleachers right now. They don't have that facility should have been beautified in a sense and to have programs there whereby on the weekends the parents can come around to see the children play games. And if we do that in every community on the island, we organize things so that we can have, say, for example, this Sunday, Match Child is playing against Williams Delight at the Williams Delight ground. And we're encouraging people to put down every other activity, come and support the children. We organize it in such a way so that people can turn out and support the youth, you know. Then next time, maybe we have Williams Delight going up against Scion Farm at the Scion Farm facility. The first thing we have to do is to make sure that all of these communities have the recreational facilities in working condition in a manner that you can accommodate the persons who will come to not just participate in the games, but to watch the games. We don't have these things in the community anymore.
Well, you mentioned Williams Delight. I had a conversation with Chief Houston Cornelius, the police chief here in St. Croix, and due to the recent death, Bush murder of his house, they had a town meeting recently, okay, and whatever, and the town meeting brought everyone together, there to kind of heal the community, in a sense, and they have programs that they're going to be having in that community as well. Williams under the Crime Prevention Bureau. And of course, that is something that is very, should I say, dear to the chief because of the situation that took place. Because after the killing and the murder, the ambush murder of Agent Charles, of course, his home was ablaze.
Right.
That the matter is still under investigation. So in order to heal the community, they have went in there, and according to the chief, he said the town meeting was very effective and very impactful. Okay, and this is things that they plan to do in different areas of the communities where we have a lot of shootings and killings and whatever.
Well, I'm glad that you're mentioning that, and not to digress too much from what we're dealing with here, but I want us to understand that whatever is going to be done in the Williams Delight community, which proves to be effective, that should be replicated across the island One. Number two, we're dealing with the youngsters in schools. What's happening with them and how we intervene, because we must have prevention as well as intervention protocols in place to deal with the situation. And for some reason, I've seen things done in other jurisdictions. I want to mention two things in particular. Undercover police operation. I've not seen any evidence of that being carried out here in the territory, but I know places where they do have undercover police operations, so that when things happen, it's sort of like what we're referring to. These guys are out there infiltrating, incognito, gathering information, so they know what groups to pull together, to try and stem whatever is getting out of hand. I think that, the same thing applies to our children in the schools. The fights sometimes have their origin, their genesis in the community. And so when the fight breaks out in the school, it's important for us to have people who can do the research, do the investigation, to find out what are the bubbling trouble spots in the community, so we can bring these guys together.
Again, I had a nice talk with the chief. And very soon, very soon, if it's not even tomorrow, I don't know, all of the law enforcement officers that has peace status, that's not a member of the Bergen Police Department, will be brought under the umbrella of the IPD.
Okay.
So that will help them in order to do a lot of the stuff that you talk about as well. But we do have undercover situation that's going on as we speak. But you might not see it on a large scale, but it is happening.
And let me just say that, there are some things I don't, and I know people feel that, well, if you know stuff, you should say. But some things you don't want to disclose of publicly.
Sure.
Because you don't want people to know, so that they find themselves in a position where they're sort of like in defense.
I know, but that's the reason why you have mechanisms like Crime Stoppers.
Right.
Or a police officer that you might. I have a lot of informants on this island. A lot of times information is given to me still, even though I'm retired, and I pass it on. Okay. And even when I was in the department, I was not in the investigation bureau per se. I was assigned there one time, okay, but reassigned. But still, the information comes to me, I pass it on. So if they feel trusted by me, or you can call 911, or you can call Crime Stopper. There's no excuse. You can write an anonymous letter to the chief. Okay, no address, just address to the chief of police or the commissioner. So we don't have any excuse. Okay, but my problem is the same generation now that's committing crimes. Okay, same generation now that's committing crimes. None of them was like what, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years old. They're grown men and women. In our era, we was trying to be proactive to avoid it. But you see what happens again, we became the victims. See, the police became the victims. Oh, no brutality, blah, 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 blah. Okay? And part of it is, that's the reason why we're under a quote unquote, consent decree, per se. Not to say that our officers could not do better in expressing themselves in documentation and saying, well, Mr. Baptiste was very aggressive, so we have to arrest him. We have to explain and articulate what aggressive, how was he aggressive and stuff. Okay, that might have been lacking. However, we tried our best. But the community, you are the police. Okay, crime is not a police problem; it's a community problem. And until we get it in our thick heads, it's going to continue.
Well, here is the thing.
All of us in communities, we have a right to take a stand and says, look, we're not going to have this anymore happening in this community. Theft. Okay? Parents, I'm talking to a lot of you right now. You know your children are no good. You know what they're doing. Not because they give you $500 cash, $1,000 a week, or they're bringing a big color TV or whatever. Okay, you know what they're up to. Speak to them. Speak to them. Because I'm gonna tell you something, Mama Papa gonna cry soon. Stop it. A lot of you know exactly what you're doing. Okay? They know exactly what they're doing. They know.
So here's the thing. Again, I keep talking about approaches. reevaluating the approach, the model that's before us.
Mhm.
There was a time when we families got together for certain meals, maybe not 3 times a day, but there was a time when families sat at the table to have a meal together. They even said prayers sometimes before the meals, or they had grace after meals. We don't have such practices in most homes today, but there might be some other ways and means where we can get families to come together. A period of time out. The cell phones are placed aside. Turn off cell phones. And it takes the rest in the community who understand these concepts to impress upon all of us to do these things. Sometimes you hear there is a need for a boycott. People come together and they impress upon different people, segments in the community. Let's boycott this particular establishment because of some foolishness that they've done. So we've got to be proactive in doing these things. And I know I'm going to get some flack for that. I've known of situations where certain police officers who looked 16, 17, 18 went undercover as students in schools to find out what was going on. I've no, I mean, I say these things with a certain degree of hesitancy.
No, you're saying the right thing. You know why? If my wife was here, I've been in the force for 33 years.
Mm-hmm.
She would have told you, my husband was saying he would have brought in students from away, undercover, put them in the schools, the students, to find out what's going on. Okay? She would have told you that. So what you're saying is true.
I often tell my children and my wife that
that's true.
I don't have police training, but I've studied.
It's common sense.
Police units, I see how they operate. Now, one thing which happened here, and I know in the Caribbean islands, you have a special services unit. Them guys, when they move in brutal fashion. Sometimes you may have an inquiry when something has happened and a life has been taken, but usually they hold one head. And I recall a time when we had several police officers on St. Croix, who in a sense controlled the streets. Them guys run into trouble. And you know what saddened me? I've never been a police officer, but the police department did not stand as one with these brothers. They went down. They went down, my brother. I'm telling you. They went down because those who should have stood with them didn't stand with them. But sometimes when you see you're in charge of youth and you're working with them, I've had a situation at Central High where I grabbed a young man one time in my class because he got into a fight with another one. I tried to pass, and Miss Prudhoff was right next door, and she saw what happened, and she commended me. I just grabbed this guy. I don't know what got into me. I grabbed him and just pulled him aside and told him, don't you understand to stop? Sometimes you got to be a little rough with them,
And you got ridiculed for that, right?
No, I was supported by Miss Prudhoff.
Well, that's good.
At the time, we were.
But some teachers have got ridiculed.
Well, listen, I took my position, and I was supported by those who were around, and the rest of the students loved what I did. You can't come to my class and try to bully somebody, take advantage of them, and go just stand by and don't do something about it. That's how I operated.
Sure.
And I'm saying sometimes we need these rough and tough police officers who can, in a sense, instill a bit of fear, to quiet things down in the streets.
Well, let me take it a little higher. I remember, God rest his soul, Alexander Farley, former governor of the Virgin Islands. He was one governor who used to always say, officers, you're out there doing your job. The government stands 4 square upon your shoulders. It meant a lot to us because it shows that it's a difference when you're out there. It's kind of like you're on your own. You are guilty until you're proven innocent. You have to go through an investigation in Internal Affairs Bureau, whatever. A lot of times, all that time is wasted, and the perpetrator is just laughing at us. Like, look at that. And they're going to do it again and again and again. You know why? Because you now, as the officer, becomes the villain. Like, yeah, something is wrong with you, the officer. You see, this is the reason why I always tell people, we are grown. And teachers, I'm pretty sure you have told your students this. I'm grown and got my education. You have to get your education. Okay? It's important for you to do that. By you fooling around in class or by you disrespecting authority, it's not going to help because you're going to leave from here. I know a lot of them have left the Virgin Islands and have gone to the States, and right now they're not alive anymore because they think they can get away with the same nonsense that they did here because of the politics, or some officers are a little lenient in actually enforcing the law because they don't want to be chastised and whatever. I have been chastised left and right, and I've done my job in this community. Okay, I can tell you that right now. I took an oath to protect life and property, and that's what you're supposed to do. What upsets me is when I see a fight in school. Because I was one of the original members of the School Security Bureau. There was only 3 of us. Now we have many, many more. I can't understand. You see a fight going on. Where are the monitors? Where are the teachers responding? These kids could have killed each other. Come on.
Well, one of the fights at the complex, a female teacher attempted to intervene, and she had to run for shelter. She ran out of the classroom.
Okay.
And when she ran out of the classroom, when the monitors came in, one of the guys, when he fired a punch, missed him, and he fell outside. He actually came back inside while the monitor was restraining the one student. He came by and attacked the student. Yeah, so we have to understand these things. Another thing I wanted to point out is that parents, and I want to speak to the parents in particular. It may seem harsh when we say some things here, but if you listen to what we're saying, if you follow the logic, you'll see that implementation of these procedures is in the best interest of your child. Many parents have been slack, only to find out in the long run the child ends into serious trouble. You can't undo it at that point in time. You got to begin at the early stages to nip it in the bud, in the best interest of your child.
Let me tell you something. Okay, thanks, Sammy. When you see a community, ambushing a police officer, killing an officer, leaving his home. Okay? I mean, come on. Please. When our community have gotten to this point, let me tell you something. I'm sorry, I'm the governor of the Virgin Islands. I'm tell you something. Shut this place down. Have to be shut down. No criminals supposed to run the streets. Period.
But worse yet,
okay?
Worse yet is what's the next action following that one you mentioned. The next one, the brazenness of the mindset to actually go and burn down the house.
Yeah.
Well, that matter is under investigation. At this point, we don't know if it was something in the home that would have caused the fire, so we can't speak to that.
Okay.
Well,
all right.
We can't say that they burned down the home. Okay, whatever. We have to wait until investigation. What I'm saying is, fact one is that officer was ambushed. That officer was shot dead. Okay. And the whole community is like, quiet. No. Because if an officer is not safe, you're not safe neither. And some people have it to say, well, because he's a police officer, that's the reason why the suspect was caught fast. Nonsense. I have seen cases where we have had similar cases where suspects are caught. It's caught by evidence. It's caught by putting the pieces and puzzles together. Okay?
You know what would have happened in some jurisdictions on the mainland in particular? There would have been activists coming together and having a vigil for peace, where they would converge on that community, have a gathering, whether with some candles lighted, what have you, and asking people to understand that we are not here to condemn anybody, but we're asking people to come together in a spirit of peace and unity. We need to restore the peace.
We understand that. However, at the same token now, you got to look the criminals right in the eyes. Look, we're not standing for this nonsense. You're telling the people, say something, something, say something, but you're not addressing the criminals.
Right.
That's what bothers me. You have to address the criminals. You have to let them to know playing out. This government stands full force.
I am in agreement.
And you're not going to run this community the way you want to run it.
I am
We're going to fine you. We're going to do what we have to do with you.
I am in agreement. Okay? And headers, the same rally I'm talking about, the same gathering I'm talking about, during that gathering, that rally, that message can also go out.
Thank you.
That, we're not going to cow down to you
So
guys.
if we're not doing
you know.
that, we're just wasting.
Well,
It's just the same as usual. That's why it's getting worse.
Right.
I'm seeing more vehicles around here, blackout windows and windshield and all kind of foolishness. Since I'm 6 years retired from the police department, and I've never seen so much violations. Now some people might say, "Well, nibs," because lack of enforcement. Okay, but we as a citizen have a responsibility. Okay, you have a responsibility. Why are you going to be in a blackout vehicle? We've had a lot of incidents where people were in blackout vehicles that looked similar to the enemy's vehicle, and they was fired upon innocently.
That's why I am particular in terms. I was telling my family again, I don't want black vehicles. I don't want red vehicles. I'm trying to avoid certain colors and certain makes because I don't want to be a case of mistaken identity.
And also a message to the teachers. If you're a teacher in the classroom, you see something happening, you can go privately, you can call 911 and report it, okay? And another thing too, whomever the next governor of the Virgin Islands might be, this is Charles Howard speaking, okay? And I'm expressing this from my own. This doesn't necessarily reflect the choices as well as this radio station. You need to make police officers, okay? You need to make monitors as police officers. Have them go through the training as police officers and have the school security officers as backups. You have to maintain that respect in the schools because they have come to this point right now. I remember when we first got into schools, they didn't want us there. I've had principals tell me plain, no, you all don't run here. You run VIP, blah, blah, blah. But then at the end of the day, they loved us that, because we brought order. Okay? No young man have never thrown me down in this community. I've worked in the narcotic strike force. I've been selected with the FBI to do special sessions with them and whatever, to the extent when they had without mentioning the business, when they had an investigation going on, the reporter stuck the camera in my face, always said, no comment, no comment, no comment. The FBI loved that of me, doing what I have to do, okay? So what I'm saying is, we have to, you can't allow this to go on anymore. I mean, we gotta take back, the same way how we say take back the streets, we gotta take back the schools. We got to establish the importance, the significance of authority in the schools, respect for your teachers, the monitors, your elders, the custodial workers, not because they're custodial workers that we feel you can disrespect them. Respect them because they are elders in most instances. And another thing too, some teachers, the social promotion thing, you must stop it. You have you have a nuisance in your class. Sometimes you have nuisance students in your class. Okay, and you just want to get rid of them, pass them on. You know that they're not ready to go to the next grade. But it's social promotion and politics that goes on as well. That's why when they go to UVI, gotta be taking remedial courses. Some 78% of them. Thank you. Yeah, ridiculous. And nobody's addressing that. These are things we know. Yeah, well, this is the reason why these two young men ran for the Board of Education, and these are the things that we've been addressing. VI history would have probably been the advocate, as well as having students actually learn, so they won't have to be doing all these remedial courses, but have to go to college. Well, hopefully, we're going through a watershed as far as certain events are concerned, and so we'll see things turn around. Now, I know there is some information we have that you guys can share. I'll let you two handle that, So you guys go ahead and handle that to the best of your ability. Well, of course, if you want to call, you can give us a call here at 340-773-0390 or 340-773-0490. You might wonder, wait a minute, is that Chaz's voice? Yes, it's my voice. I'm right here. I've been invited to Choices. This is the second time I'm here, back to back consecutively on a Friday. So, and I'm sharing it with Emma Love and Bapu.
Yes, and we definitely appreciate it. Having him times two.
Yeah.
So we're gonna get back into what we said the topic was with the school violence. We have to look beyond the punches and ask what is happening underneath the surface. Are we dealing with bullying, anger, peer pressure, social media conflicts, family problems, lack of conflict resolution skills, or something else? Most importantly, What can parents, teachers, students, schools, and the community do to change the situation? School violence can include physical fights, bullying, cyberbullying, and weapon related incidents. And prevention works best when schools, families, students, and communities are involved.
Hold on there. Repeat that again. Let's say.
Prevention works best when schools, families, students, and communities are involved.
You see how this goes?
Yes.
All hands must be on deck.
Yes.
If we're gonna see results. So we're appealing to parents. We're appealing to any administrator, any teacher who's listening to this program, any elected official, candidates running for the different positions on Board of Education and what have you. Listen, anything you can say or do to assist in remedying the situation at our schools and in our communities, let's get together to make it happen, people.
Definitely, definitely. We have some questions for students, and this is where I kind of get a little down under because the students are not calling in. This show is you guys own. We need to hear what is happening. What is your solution as a student to make things better for you guys? Call into our program choices. We are live on Facebook. If you don't want to have your voice heard because you shy, you don't like how your voice sound on the radio. I don't like how my voice sound, but I'm here. I'm still doing the people's job. Leave a comment underneath the Facebook Live. But please call so we can help you guys, so we can make the community a better place to live. Everybody is right now so fed up with St. Croix, St. Thomas, St. John. Everybody wants to just leave. How about we just fix our island and stay home?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's what you have.
This
Make
is paradise,
Exactly.
I mean, even with the problems, it is still paradise because you know how many of the Americans are jumping and purchasing tickets to come down here, and then they see your land and they see potential and they purchase it, and you don't have anything left. So get with the program, get with the time, and let me make the community a better place to live in.
If I may say something, we have the infrastructure in place in terms of institutions, human resource, to make this one of the best places on planet Earth. But we're just not coming together in a coordinated effort to make it happen.
Right.
UVI, listen, UVI is a gem, a treasure that we have.
Yes, it's a historically black college, right? You're an HBCU.
And the only university under the American flag that is here in the English-speaking Caribbean area.
Big up to UVI. Okay, everybody like to run and go off to the mainland and.
Well, I encourage them. I'm also a proud member of the Golden International Honor Society. I stood by two educators, Dr. Ryan as well as Dr. Bryson, who were inducted in 2015.
Okay.
UVI, and we encourage a lot of the young people to attend UVI. There's the of no cost tuition program. Okay, I know they had some problems with it, but I believe it's going to be a reality again. If not,
well, I've known of some greats. I use the term greats who attended UVI when it used to be CVI, and they went on to make great contributions in the world.
Yeah, exactly.
Right here in the Caribbean area, a number of them, went on to do very well. So now,
well, Dr. McNair, the astronaut.
Oh yeah,
He was the guest speaker at the CVI, the commencement speaker.
Okay.
He was a commencement speaker.
Yeah, he was involved with which
NASA.
Which program?
The Challenger.
The Challenger.
NASA,
okay.
Exploded.
Right.
With the teacher and everything, all of them up there.
Yeah.
College.
Yeah. Yep.
That's right. Okay, now some of the questions the students might have is, why do you think students fight at school? what happens, what usually happens before a fight begins? Does social media make school conflicts worse, or how? Are students fighting because they feel disrespected, bullied, threatened, or embarrassed? What does respect mean to our young people today? Do students know where to go when they have serious disagreement with another student? Would you feel comfortable telling a teacher, counselor, parent, or other trusted adult that you're having a problem? Why or why not? What could a student do instead of fighting when someone insults or threatens them? What role do bystanders play? Should students record a fight, encourage it, or try to get help? What would make your school feel safer?
I wish as I had turned up because I asked him some of these questions just to feel. The one with respect in particular, I think it was one of them. He answered and he told me that he couldn't do that because to do it is like he's punking out. And I wanted him to come tonight. I guess he got stuck on the basketball court. I wanted him to come so that people could hear him. You imagine that?
Feedback.
I can't do that because I can't punk out. So they feel that somehow your one way to stand up to a challenge is to show that you're not afraid.
Right.
You're not gonna punk out. Come and punk me, boy. I gotta get back at you. And we need to somehow get to the children, the young men in particular, that that's not necessary.
But you see, it's indicative because as adults in our community, what are we fighting for? So what example are we setting for them? We accept everything, and sometimes when you open your mouth, oh, you're a troublemaker. This is a troublemaker. Baptiste is a troublemaker. This person is a troublemaker. But at the same token, when we get through, everybody feels good. Today I went to the Motor Vehicle Bureau, not to digress. And when I walked in, all of the employees, the females, were dressed in school uniforms, representing a few of the schools.
The schools that they attended?
Yes.
Wow.
As a matter of fact, some of them had multi dress on them, representing each school that they attended.
That's nice.
Oh wow.
That's nice. Because
yes, and I'm gonna have an excerpt of that on the program coming up. But I believe we'll take pictures on Facebook and show themselves. And it was an idea of one of the workers. She said, "Nibs, the reason why I did this is because our children are going to school, so we're going to school as well." So I told them next time what you need to do is go in the classroom. Let that little girl see, wow, look at that big girl with that uniform on. That's very impactful. And also have a male dress to model how male should look in school, instead of these pants under the backside.
That's good because I saw one Caribbean island where they had government workers dressed in the uniform of the schools that they attended on a particular day. And I thought that was so nice. You've got people,
Many years ago when Chichi Hayward, God rest her soul, she invited me to speak. She started a radio station at the WCHS. Chichi Hayward, Maria Chichi Hayward. And I dressed as a Central High School student. When I walked in the classroom, immediately the attention was on me. They forgot all about broadcasting and radio and stuff. And I was able to impact a few of the students with certain things that we were saying. But as we continue with our questions, like, how do you know when your child is experiencing conflict at school? Are parents communicating enough with their children about anger, bullying, and fighting? How should a parent respond when their child says, if somebody hits me, I have to hit them back?
We got to hold on this one day. Because I've heard children have told me where their father told them, don't take anybody's blow. If somebody hit you, you hit them back. And so what's the consensus on that? Is it okay for us to tell our children that if somebody hit you in school, you don't take the blow, you return it? No, come on. What's the right way about this?
And should parents be involved in resolving serious conflict between students? Yes. What can parents do at home to teach students conflict resolution? Charity begins at home. Those skills begins at home. Okay. Even as siblings, they're fighting among each other. So they can't get along as siblings in their homes. We expect them to get along in the community.
Well, let me just say something here, because that's an important thing. The children get into fight sometimes. A child has a sneaker, and a bully watches the sneaker. It's nice and it's white, and he just steps on it. You know, that presents a conflict. So the question is, how do we teach children to deal with these things? I think there are sometimes one needs to pause for a while and decide if it makes sense to strike back, or just simply walk away and take the situation to an adult and let them intervene.
That would be the smarter thing to do. But when you already have that mindset from home, where your parent don't tell you, anybody hit you, hit them back, you ain't thinking to go and carry it to nobody. You gonna take the matters into your own hands and deal with it.
So we need to address the parents who teach that. We need to talk to them in terms of, you know, finding a better way of presenting us that situation's resolve, you know, to the child. Because I think we have to come to a point where we understand that sometimes we shouldn't take the fight into our own hands. It's not like they say vigilante justice. We don't need that. There should be processes at the school that when such a thing happens, there is a means of redress where the student goes to an authority, if I may. Whether it's a counselor or somebody to.
Is it a Caribbean thing with the parent that if you hit somebody hits you?
Not necessarily. Not necessarily.
But that's their mindset, because that's how they grew up. They grew up that way.
To me, I know it's like Caribbean people like to tell you, if somebody hits you, hit them back.
I've heard a lot of parents within my age group tell their kids that. I've never instilled that in my son. I want to actually hear what happened from both parties, because if you get into a drama with somebody, what was exchanged between the two of y'all? Because I ain't gonna always believe my son is a goody two shoes.
But there's also a part where you have to defend you. I don't expect to have a daughter and somebody's trying to rape my daughter, that she mustn't fight back. You see? Or you have a son where he's been attacked. But then normally you see the victims are the ones that gets the blame.
Right.
Well, the child should not be encouraged to be a coward.
True.
You know,
there's a very thin line between that.
Right. So you've got to know where you can avoid an escalation.
Yeah, but then they may see the troubled Norman, but they only see when Norman strike back. That was my problem.
I see.
My mother said, yes, Charles.
So that made me need civic classes.
Civics.
From first grade.
But how you gonna have civics when you don't even have VI history in our schools?
Right. We have a lot of cleaning up to do.
Yeah. What this is saying, listen, our communities,
conflict resolution.
Here, our communities are in crisis right now.
Very much so.
And we need to be proactive, all of us.
Yes.
In addressing the situation, and that's the bottom line.
Right. So these are questions for teachers and school administrators. What are the warning signs that a student may be heading toward a physical confrontation? Do teachers have enough resources to intervene before conflicts become fights? How should schools balance consequences with helping students change their behaviors? Should schools establish peer mediation or conflict resolution programs? How can schools rebuild relationships after a fight? What support do teachers need when dealing with repeated student conflicts?
The bigger question, are we only punishing the fight, or are we addressing the reason behind the fight? A suspension may remove a student from school temporarily, but it does not necessarily resolve the conflict that caused the incident.
Right.
And that's what we spoke about earlier on when we say that, we need to have those, every school should have what you call a crisis intervention team or unit. So that when these things happen, that unit comes together and puts out the plan of deployment, how we get into the community, how we find the leaders that steer this thing forward.
But when I was a DARE instructor, they don't have the DARE in the school anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Drug abuse resistant education.
Mm-hmm.
We had a box that
Mhm.
students would drop in their questions,
Mm-hmm.
and some of the students used that box to inform me of certain things in
Mhm.
the school grounds as well.
So if it worked, why remove it?
Maybe that's what we need is to have some type of a box at
Yeah.
school
Uh-huh.
from the principal,
Okay.
where I'm not going to stay in my office. I'm going to be
Uh-huh.
out and to where students could actually slip
Mm-hmm.
a piece, their concerns
Incognito
and-
without mentioning who they are.
No,
So why if it worked, why take it away?
exactly. Now, restorative practices can help students understand who was affected, take responsibility, repair harm, and rebuild relationships with maintaining accountability. Now, possible solutions.
Create school conflict resolution teams, train counselors, teachers, administrators, and selected students to intervene early when conflicts begin. Establish peer mediation. Students can be trained to help classmates resolve smaller disputes before they escalate. Strengthen counseling services. Students involved in repeated conflicts should have access to counselors and appropriate mental health and behavioral support.
Mm-hmm.
Create safe reporting. Students need a trusted way to report threats, bullying, or escalating conflicts without feeling that they are snitching.
Mm-hmm.
Teach conflict resolution skills. Schools can teach communication, emotional regulation, empathy, problem solving, and conflict management. Not simply tell students don't fight. It's not working.
Mm-hmm.
These skills are among the approaches recommended for youth violence prevention.
Mm-hmm.
Bring parents into the solution. When appropriate, schools should work with families rather than waiting until a serious incident occurs. Give young people something positive to do. Expand sports, music, arts, mentoring, apprenticeships, leadership programs, after school activities. CDC identifies mentoring, leadership opportunities, and structured after school programs as part of a broader youth violence prevention approach. Build stronger student adult relationships. Students who feel connected to supportive adults and their school are better positioned to develop a safer, more supportive school environment.
Can I say something?
Go ahead.
Yes.
I think with this mentorship and different programs,
Mhm.
that the Department of Education should look at grants. Try to get some grants.
Absolutely. There are
So
grants
they
for
could
that. Yeah.
get those things going for the
Mhm.
kids and there.
Mm-hmm.
Try
Yeah.
to see what free money they could get, what
Yeah.
program they could get after
Uh-huh.
school and everything.
Mm-hmm. They got federal funds for these things, so that's something we need to look into. Let me just say one of the things mentioned there is using select students to engage in certain things. There was a time we had a system at some of the schools where some students were like a corridor. They walk the corridors. They
I
had
would
this
like student council.
like
what?
no at Alexander Henderson.
Patrols.
We had some they like
Patrol.
yeah.
Safety
They-
I
patrol.
was a school patrol.
Okay.
We're in Aspinall Junior High School.
All right, so-
which was renamed at a later time.
They used to have that in the schools, you know. I don't know why these are things that work. It prepared those students to rise up to go into positions of leadership.
Mhm.
We just
Well, accountability must remain. Being on this understanding does not mean ignoring violence.
Mm-hmm.
Students who hurt others should face appropriate consequences while also receiving opportunities to understand the harm it caused and change their behavior. Create a no-fight community partnership.
Mm-hmm.
Schools, parents, police, youth organizations, churches, businesses, counselors, coaches, and students can work together on prevention rather than waiting until another fight occurs. Now, questions to put to the community.
If you were principal for one day, what would you do about fighting in your school? Should students who fight be suspended, counseled, participate in restorative sessions, or receive a combination of consequences and support? What responsibility do parents have? What responsibility do students have? What responsibility does the community have? Are we giving our young people enough positive opportunities, or are we only reacting when something goes wrong?
Now, in our closing message, we must say a fight may last a few minutes, but the consequences can last much longer. One student can be injured, another can be suspended, families can be devastated, and relationships can be permanently damaged. Our goal should not simply be to punish young people after a violent occurs. Our goal should be to prevent the next fight from happening. In short, let's teach our children that strength isn't always throwing a punch. Sometimes strength is walking away. Sometimes strength is asking for help. Sometimes strength is saying, I'm angry and I'm not going to let my anger control me.
Wow.
That's
What a wonderful definition
powerful.
of strength, empowerment. Well, we've just about come full circle, so I'll let you guys.
The music.
You got a music here? All right, let's head up.
Mhm. This is the music about the what's going on.
I guess so.
It come on. That's right. It's
Yes,
sum
That's
up
what,
of what we're doing.
that's what the producer is sitting
The
back
producer is saying right there.
Yeah.
Okay.
She knows what
Let's
it is.
go to
Okay.
Okay. That's
Well,
right. Okay. You
we're
always
gonna,
have
and you know what I want us to do? I've spoken to Chief Cornelius before he went away. And we've got to bring him on this program. But when we're going to do that, I want us to send a message to the school so that the administration can inform students to tune in for that evening when we're going to have the chief on with us. Okay, so let's try and set this up.
Okay.
Pick up a couple of the boys to come here as well. I'm not hearing.
It's on the air. You're on the air.
Okay. Yeah. Two. All right, folks. In closing, well done. Listening.
All I'm going to say right now is all students have the right to learn and see the environment. The good news is school violence can be prevented. Many factors contribute to school violence. Preventing school violence requires addressing the factors that put people at risk for and protect them from violence. Research shows that prevention efforts by teachers, administrators, parents, community members, and even students can reduce violence and improve school violence.
Mandy.
To the students, I just want to say, you're having an issue. Stop, think, everybody know. I want to go to step 2, so work on step 1 first.
Okay, I just want to say to those of you who have listened to this program tonight, those of you who follow Facebook, spread the word. Let us know, let the young people know, and the adults, everybody know that we have this program on Friday nights called Choices. It's get towards transforming lives for the better so that we can secure the future of these youngsters. So encourage them to tune in on Friday evenings from 7 to 8:30. I certainly would appreciate that. So you guys stay strong, keep the faith, be blessed, and we will reconnect next week. Yes, Brother Mills?
Yes, well, thank you very much. I just have a message from the chief, Cornelius. This wanted individual, Eric Simon, he wanted a wanted suspect. The VIPD Criminal Investigation Bureau is searching for 27-year-old Eric Simon in connection with a double homicide in the Castle Coke shooting on Sunday, August 9th, 2026, that claimed the lives of brothers Deli Eduardo, 25, and Yudani Eduardo, 30. This individual is armed and dangerous. Do not approach. The $10,000 cash reward is offering. A private donor is offering a cash reward for information leading to the arrest of Eric Simon. If you have information on his whereabouts, call Crime Stoppers, USVI, anonymously at 1-800-222-TIPS. That's 8477. And this has been a WSTX News Breaking.
All right.
All right.
Well, that's it.
Good night. What time?
I think that-
Right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Wow. After all what